So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of The Chill Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today we're gonna talk about the third album by the band Teenage Wrist, and it's called Still Love. And this is a band that I've been obsessed with since 2018. I remember listening to their first album and I listened to their EPs, and I bought on vinyl their second album when it came out a few years ago. And now the band, they're a two-piece. They used to be more people in the band, but they had some lineup changes. So basically right now it's Anthony Salazar on the drums, and you have Marshall Gallagher on guitar, vocals, and some bass. And something that I think on this third album is really good, I think Marshall Gallagher has really come into his own as a lyricist and as a singer. The songs on this album are an improvement from their first two. Their first album had a mix of Marshall and also Camlin Mohager, who was their original singer and bassist, so they shared singing duties. But on the second one, it was all Marshall, and you can tell that it was an album, that it was a transition, so they were seeing how it went. So even though it's good, I think it showed promise. And this is an album that's longer, it's 47 minutes in length, and it was self-produced by the band themselves. It's on Epitaph Record, and Epitaph Record is really known for a lot of punk music. And the sound of Teenage Wrist is very much a mixture of grunge and alternative rock from the 90s with some shoegaze elements to it. And on this album, they keep blending those elements, but I find that there is a little bit more room for experimentation on this record. And something that this record has that the other two didn't have is they have a lot of guest vocalists on some of the songs. For example, they have on Dark Sky S.A. Martinez from 311, who's very known for his rapping abilities. Then on a song like Still Love, they share the song with the band Soft Cult, which is another alternative shoegaze band that's been blowing up lately, and very great band. And then you have other guest vocalists, like you have Sister Boyd on Wax Poetic, you have the March of on Cigarette Two Step, you have another collaboration there, and on Humbug you have Heavenward, which is the band for Camlin Mohager. So he came back to this band for this song, and it's good that they could bury the hatchet and do that. So there's 12 songs, and out of those 12 songs, there's like 5 songs that had collaborations, but they don't take away from the album. The collaborations are really good on the album, and there's sometimes when you have an album that there's a lot of collaborations, and sometimes it's too much, and you think like, where's the band? But in this case, the collaborations blend well with the sound of Teenage Wrist, and they don't take over. So that's why I think it's good, and I'd be interested to see how they would play these songs live. So they released 4 singles prior to the release of Still Love. The first single was Sunshine, which is the song that opens the album, and this song, it has some great crunchy alternative fuzzy guitars, and I love the vocals. I think Marshall as a vocalist has really improved. I like the chorus when he said like, little sunshine, give it all away. It's very melodic and catchy at the same time. And something that this album does really well is it can catch that feeling of the 90s and nostalgia, but without being like a copy paste, and giving it like a new twist, a modern twist on this sound from the 90s. And I think Teenage Wrist right now with Narrowhead and other bands are one of the best to do it right now. I like more Teenage Wrist because I like that they blend the shoegaze elements seamlessly, and I really like Marshall's voice. I think it's a voice that it can be very melodic, but it can also be aggressive at times, but aggressive in a way that wouldn't put you off. So yeah, Sunshine starts the album great. The track Dark Sky, when I saw that S.A. Martinez from 311 was gonna be there, I was like, this is interesting, because 311 is really like more rap rock, and it really doesn't go with the grunge. So I was scared that that was gonna be a corny song, but no. The song is really anthemic, and S.A. Martinez, when he goes in the song and he does his rap, it does not sound out of place. It really sounds like a little bit of Free Eleven with some Teenage Wriz flair to it. So I really thought it was a great track. But Still Love was my favorite single that they released with Soft Cold. I just love that song. I think the shoegaze elements on that song is great, and it's a beautiful song. The lyrics on this song are great. It's all about, you know, the world is screwed up and you have bruises, you're bleeding, but you still find a way to love. And it's a metaphor for relationships, but they also talk about like mothers and the earth. So like, even though that we're going through hard times, we still go through and we still love, because they asked that question, can I still love? And I really love it. And I love it when Soft Cold with the female vocals come in, and it's just a great track. I really haunting track. So the only single that I liked it, but I wasn't super huge on it, was Diorama. That's a more like an acoustic number with some different types of elements, like a weird like guitar that sounds like a sitar, but I'm not really sure. But it's good. So the other tracks that are not singles that I thought really stood out, a song like Something Good. That's a track that it starts very like acoustic and it's more like a ballad, but it has some dreamy guitars to it that really remind me of Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins era. And just a great track. Unfortunately, I haven't read the lyrics because they're not available yet, but I'm thinking it's about a relationship of some kind, but still I have not read the lyrics, but it's a great track. I thought like tracks like Digital Self is really interesting, and it's more, that one's more abrasive, and also they do more abrasive sounds on a song like Cold Case, Wax Poetic as well, and Cigarette Two-Step. That one's one of the most aggressive songs on the record. Then the song Humbug, when they with Heaven Ward and they go back with their other lead singer, I think it's great, and I think that one has some great grungy guitars to it, mixed with some dreamy shoegaze elements to it. And I thought it was a great way because you have the both vocalists on it, and it really sounded more like their first album. So I think it was great. The album closer, Paloma, aka Ketamine, it's a strange one because it starts like they're like talking, and then they start like an acoustic guitar, and it ends, and then you have more people talking. So it's a weird album closer. It's not bad, but I think they should have ended the album with the song Sprawled, which is before the ending, and that song has an element that really surprised me when it's almost 5 minutes long, and at the 4-minute mark you get this beautiful saxophone solo that comes out of nowhere, and it sounds great with those like shoegaze grungy guitars, and it almost sounded like Kenny G was playing on it. I don't know who plays the saxophone on that song, but it's really great and soulful, and it ends, you know, it gives that different flair to that song that I'm like, wow, that song really needed some saxophone on it, and it is just great. So in conclusion, this third album by Teenage Wriz, Still Love, is an amazing record. I think it's their best album yet, and it's impressive that they self-produced this. So if you like alternative rock from the 90s, if you like grunge, if you like shoegaze, please do not sleep on Teenage Wriz because they're a great band, and they're doing some, you know, they're doing some great new spin on this sound from the 90s, and I just love it. So I want to know, if you listen to the album, comment what are your favorite tracks from the album. I want to know. And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to give me a like, and do not forget to give me a like. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourself. So please, if you do so, also subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.